So let's see how we can reverse a string using function, which basically takes string as an input and returns the string in the reverse order. So to begin with, I'll have a function static string data type and reverse string, which basically take string as an input and returns string later. So I'll convert the string character array and then input to char array So we took the incoming string and converted it into char array. Once this is done, we can use array.reverse to reverse the character array. Once this is done, we have to reverse this back to string because this is in a string character array right now. So reverse is equal to new string, pass this character array back into that string and reverse it, return. So once we go here, I can say console dot write enter a string. Then so it will give us the console, the user will enter the string and we have to capture that. That is an input string console read line. Once we use that, we can call reverse string and pass the input to the string. We assign this string to a reverse string to a string here, and then we print console write line reversed. Okay, enter, it's reversed. This is string and this reverse string. And we can do this in other way as well. Take static string reverse string type 2 or wait 2 as a string as an input. So we do the same, char array character array is equal to input dot to character array. We can do the dot to reverse here itself. But it's giving an error. What is the error? This has to be written Unicode. I don't want to do this right now. Take this, and now we have a character array and we have to swap these character back and forth. Okay, so to do that, I have start position 0 and end position will be character array dot length -1. So take while loop, and if start lesser than end, then we swap. The way we do it, we take a character temp is equal to char array start, we assign this one, and now we have assigned character array start with end, and we end the character array, and we're just swapping the character end to temp. So we just swap back and forth, and once this is done, we have start plus plus and end minus minus. Okay, this will swap the character of whatever the string we enter, and then we do the same thing what we did in reverse back to string using string and then say character array array and return the reversed string. So we just take this, replace with this one, and run the application. Enter. Should give a reversed string. These are the two ways we can do it. There may be multiple ways you can go with, but for now we'll have looked at two ways to reverse a string. Let's see how to reverse a string using a for each loop. This is kind of a tedious one, but I've already shown you the reversing of a string using array dot reverse, but we can see this one as well. Let's say we have some function static string, right? So say reverse string, pass string s. Here what we do is we'll have a empty string because we have to assign everything. Once we have this, we go through for each whatever the string we get through and put that into reverse. Plus is equal to C first and reverse, right? We have to reverse the string and then return reverse. Suppose CW let's say string, then say reverse string and pass the string here. This is enter. We have to reverse this one, right? Let's see how it works. It's reversed. But here what happens here, the main drawback of this one is, so this is every time string is immutable, so that's why it creates every time a new string object and assigns the value. It goes till the end of the string what we pass. And the other way, using array.reverse, is much better on performance wise. It's easy, and this creates a memory leak as well, because it keep on creating object for every character. I would always go with the array.reverse method. It's just that name dot whatever the value we pass in, we convert it to 2char, and then once we use array reverse and we put back that into a string with a new string, then we return, right? So in this approach, this is time consuming. It creates too many objects. Array.reverse is a built-in method, basically optimizes reversing array and constructing string. That's the reason it will be faster in executing compared to this one. Here we don't get any errors. If I pass empty, so it won't throw any error. But in the case of array.reverse, if it is empty, it will say, yeah, null reference exception, right? And array.reverse is not limited to strings, but this is limited to strings. Here you can't pass. Here you have to pass the string, but when you use array.reverse, you can pass anything. It can be number, string. We did both, number and string in my previous example. This is kind of cozy, and it like you don't understand what you say, and when it comes to array, you just take an array and reverse it. We're done with that. Performance wise also, array.reverse is much better than string manipulation, as I already mentioned. So this is a code test for to check whether the given sentence or a string is a palindrome or not. So we're gonna check palindrome. So basically palindrome is like same word or same mapping. It's a word or a phrase, number or sequence of characters that reads the same forward and backward. Suppose I have a level or radar, let's say level, radar, madam. These are like you go from like forward or backward, it reads the same, right? There is nothing change. So even from the front it's level, from backwards it's level. This is called palindrome. We have to check this one. So we can do that by using a couple of things. Let's see, we have a static method of bool which checks is palindrome. Okay, we'll pass string as an input parameter, and then so string can be of different types, right? We have to clean. It can have like a non-alphanumeric, alphabetic characters, or non-alphanumeric characters, which basically is special character and other space, everything. So we got to get rid of that. So to do that, we can have static string clean string method which basically takes string as an input, and we convert this string to lower case, because when it comes to comparison it would be good to have it in lowercase for comparison instead of to avoid all this uppercase, lowercase, all that. So we convert this into lowercase, and then once we done this, what we have to do is we have to use regular expression to check the case and remove alphanumeric with a using expression, so that string cleanup, right? What we do is we say cleaned string, that basically system we use regular expression text dot regular expression regex dot replace, it takes lowercase string comma, we take pattern is like a string regular expression pattern with the caret. So we are just doing with lowercase. If it is lowercase, we A to Z in lower. If we don't convert it into lowercase, then we have to say A capital and also Z capital. We have to mention like this, A capital, Z capital. So we are not doing it because everything is in lower. Now we check numbers in it. So once this is done, we clean the rest with this one. If it doesn't matches, then return clean string, right? This is we clean the string. Now we have to do this one, get this one into a string, and then put it in a input, call this as clean string, and pass input string, input. I say cleaned input. So once this is done, we get, let's say, take a character and convert this to a array, character array. Char array is equal to cleaned input dot to character array. So now we can loop through this one and check, compare the front part and the back part of the word. So let's say I have int starting position is 0 as always, and end character length we do -1 because we are skipping the middle character to compare when it comes to end. Then while loop we see start less than end, we loop through, and if right character array start not equal to character array end, then return false. And to continue the loop, start plus plus end minus minus, and after that return if nothing goes on true. So this is the logic, and let's check this one. Console write line, say is this string a palindrome call is palindrome and pass the string, say level, and see the output, it's true. Suppose if I add 0, then it is false, it's not a palindrome. So what if I have something like this and L V all this, is it a palindrome? It's still a palindrome because we are taking out non-alpha numeric characters out. So this will be a palindrome. It's true. This logic, whatever we have right here, is doing all that. So it's a palindrome. So we can do this in other way as well. So that you can do. It's the same way. We take the input and we take the length instead of character, converting it to character. What we can do is, it's the same process again. So take int length as cleanup input length. Okay, now we can use for loop, and length divided by 2. We separate both into this input cleans input into 2 part, and then we loop through. If cleaned input of type passing index to the string I not equal to this length -1 -1, and before this we have to minus the whatever the int value of this loop, minus I. So basically what we are doing here is we are splitting into 2 and checking whether the first half and the last half are trying to compare, and we are removing the middle. -1 is to make it odd number, or sorry, make it even number. So to map each side, taking out the middle part, and we took all the special characters here. So if it is true, I mean false, we return false, else after return true. This should give us the same result as we did, it's true. So same result from here and there. These are the two types we can find whether the string is palindrome or not. Let's take an example or a interview technical question where we have to write a function that prints numbers from 1 to 0, but in between we have some conditions. So when it is multiply of 3, we need to say fizz instead of number, okay? And for multiply of 5, we need to print buzz. So for number that are both, that will be FizzBuzz. Okay, so FizzBuzz is a common programming task. That's an interview question. So in FizzBuzz, we print the number from 1 to number, any n number. Okay, and we with the different conditions. So to do that, we start with, let's say I have a 100 number for int I 100. For 100 length, and then now I have to say if this is true. What is true? I divided by 3 is equal to 0. Okay, and I divided by 5 0. Then we say CW is a FizzBuzz. It because this number is divided by both 3 and 5, like 15 it divided by 3 and divided by 5, right? So likewise, so then else if just divided by 3, then we say it's a fizz. Else if it's 5, then we say buzz. Else say CW, let's print I number. So let's see how it works. See all the result. 3 is fizz, 5 is buzz, 3 is fizz, and this is 15 FizzBuzz, 30 is FizzBuzz, right? So this is the example or code for FizzBuzz interview question. C# code test. So in this we will find out factorial of n number. So they can ask you write a function that calculates the factorial of given number. The factorial of non-negative integer n is a product of all positive integers less than or equal to n, right? So you can find out the factorial is basically, if you say if you want to find a factorial of 3, it will be 3 into 2 into 1. If you want factorial of 5, 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1, like that. So 1 and 2 are by default factorial. You can't produce any much value, so we can start with 3 onwards. So we can write, basically we have to use big int in this case, where big int type is used because in factorial calculations to handle the scenario where like a factorial of given entered number exceeds the range, right, of integer types, int, long, etc. So let's begin with I added reference of system numeric, which was not available, so I had to go here, search for numeric, and then add the reference. So once I added the reference of numeric, I can use it. So we'll have a static big int teacher method where it says calculate factorial, takes integer number, and in this what we have to do is we have to make sure we have a basic variable of big int which can hold all the factorial value. So let's declare a big int of factorial which initialize to 1 for now, and let's have a condition where we check non-negative numbers. I can't enter -1 minus of any number, right? So we have to validate that if whatever the number we are getting less than 0, which is basically -1, then we throw an error through new argument reference expression saying number must be non-negative. Once this is passed, or next we have to have like for each where I have int I, and we have this number which is coming in is equal to, we start with 2, right? That's what 1 into 1, 1, 2 into 1, 2. Let's start with 2 and we loop through until this condition satisfied. So now we have factorial is equal to factorial of I, whatever we pass in, then end of the statement. So once this is done, we return factorial. So once we get the factorial, that will be assigned to factorial of big int calculate factorial of the input whatever we get in. So I would say, so in parse console dot read line so whatever we enter we have to get a factorial for that. Once this is done, I can print it CW factorial number. So let's see how it works. So I can say factorial of 4, it's 24, that's right. 4 into 3 into 2 into 1, 4 into 3 is 12, into 2 24, into 1 24. So I can say factorial of 6 720, right? 6 into 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. That's how you find the factorial of a number. Let's say C# intro question or C# test code test question Fibonacci series. So we have to write a function to print Fibonacci series based on number of terms we enter. It can be 5 terms, number of terms in the sense how many times you have to loop through the Fibonacci series or go through the Fibonacci series. Basically Fibonacci series is a sequence of numbers, right, where you have like each number is the sum of two preceding numbers. Suppose you have it's sum of first two numbers, right? 0, 1 start with. okay, first number and second number. So 0 plus 1 is equal to 1. Now these two preceding number, and that will become a sum. 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. Now 1 plus 2 is equal to 3. Now 2 plus 3 is equal to 5. 5 plus 3, 8. 8 plus 5, 13. 13 plus 8, 21. 21 plus 13, 34. So this goes on. This is how Fibonacci series work. So to do this one, we can have some static. Okay, this basically returns nothing, just void. I would say print, just gonna print, right, Fibonacci series. Basically takes int as number, and we have to mention number of terms. Let's say number of terms, then print. So first we have to find the first two numbers. We have to say in first number in Fibonacci series always 0, and the second number is 1 always, right? So we need to find a sum and loop through it. Suppose I'll say, let's print what is coming. For int I equals 0, then I less than number of terms I plus plus. So we're going through number of terms. Now I can say CW, right, start the first number, and once we start with the first number, now it has to say the sum of, we need to find out the sum of the next number. So int next number is equal to first number plus 0 plus 1 second number, right? Once we find this one, now the first number becomes the second number, and the second number becomes the next number, sum of 2. So this is how it works. So once this is done, so we can print these numbers, right? So the first number will change every time, so we have to print these two first numbers, then we print the first number again and the first number again, and the second number will become a first number, and so on. Let's see how it works. So let's say console right line CW, let's say console CW is enter the number of terms. Okay, once we enter the number of terms, I don't want read line, just a read, right, then take it into number of terms, collect the input, parse it, console read line, then call print. This is not returning anything. Let's see, number of terms. So namespace directly contains the, it has to go inside print. So now it is fixed. Let's say till 8. Yeah, 0 plus 1 1, 1 plus 1 2, 2 plus 1 3, 3 plus 2 5, 5 plus 3 8, 8 plus 5 13. That's how Fibonacci series work. Yeah, when we first print 0, once we print it, we are just in a loop. So the next number will become the sum of two numbers, and the second number becomes first, and now we have 1 here because the second number is 1 and the second number is next one. So now it's next loop, we print 1 and then next go here and this shift. That's how we are printing this whole series of numbers. Let's see how we can swap two integer without using a third variable in C#. Let's say I have int a equals 10 and int b is 20. So I have to swap this one. Before I swap, I would say before swap a is a right, comma b b, and after swap we print again. Okay, in between we swap. So let's say we have a variable a, we add both a plus b, this will become 30. Right now b equals a minus b. So what will happen? A is 30 and 30 minus 10 is equal to 20, right? So now b become no 20, b is 20, this has become 10, right? Now a becomes a minus b. So now a is 30 and b is 10 equal to 20. Let's print this. First a was 10, b was 20, now a become 20 and b became 10. So can we swap? We swapped with integers. Can we swap the same with the string? Let's give it a try with the same method. String str1 is equal to hello. String str2 equals word. So I have two strings. Now I have to swap them. So I need to swap them with the same method, right? So for that maybe I have to use ref. Yeah, I can have something like this. I could have moved this to a say static void swap int integer right. I've done it, but you have to send it as a ref. In this case we can't send integer values ref, so that's a reason. We'll take a look at that. For now, let's say let it be here. I want to experiment that. So let's swap static void swap string. So we have to pass ref. Ref string A, string B, and A plus B. We added both. Now it becomes hello world. Right now, B will be a substring, right? We set a starting point because we have to start from beginning. A dot length minus B dot length. This will become, we are doing A, trimming it from here to here. We are doing this part because A minus B will be 5, right? We're taking A part out, so this will become word. Now we have to set A back, A equal to A or substring of whatever B dot length. We don't have to set a starting point because we are just starting from wherever it is here. So we say this here. After swap, and in between we have to say swap string ref str1 ref str2. Let's see how things work first, and then we decide. First is hello and then word. Now it has become word and hello. That's right, it's working fine. So how exactly this will work? If I take this off and swap string, let's see this. It's not doing anything because it's an integer. So we can say ref should work, passing reference of it. It's done. So when you use reference, everything works as expected. When it comes to string, the only thing is we have to change it here. Take start friend word and then put start. One thing is you do not have to set this start position here. You just start position wherever it ends from here on and to the end. If you don't set the length where it ends, the length. So let's see how we can swap. So let's say I'll take this one here and change this to after. Let's do the same logic what we had here, right? So a plus b is equal to a minus b, and a is equal to a minus b, right? So let's do the same here for string. So str1 is equal to str1 plus str2. str2 is equal to str1 dot substring of starting point, then str1 dot length minus str2 dot length, then str1 will be str2 dot str1 dot substring str2 dot length. Let's see the result. Yep. Hello world swapped. Here 10 10 20 20. It's nice. But here everything we do with a. The first everything we do with a, because a has a big string of this one. We take it, add it, do it. You have to keep that in mind. You can do other way using ref as well. You can create and swap, pass integer as reference. You have seen that as well. Okay. So we can do this with multiplying it and dividing it. In case of integer, we get the same result. But not with the string. This is one of the C# coding test question where you have to find the character occurrence in a string. So let's say I have a string of something. This is an example, a sample of C# coding test. So I need to find how many times T occurs and H occurs, all that. So to do that, we can start with printing console, enter the string to find out the occurrence. Now, so we have to read the user input, right? So to do that, let's say I have input is equal to console.readLine. So once we read this, now it's time to take out all the spaces from a string. It can be like continuous string or it can have spaces. So input is equal to input dot replace. If there is empty string, we replace with string dot empty. Once this is done, we have a continuous string. If you want, we can print that continuous string here. So once this is done, let's do a while loop where we go through each character and find out how many times it occurs in a string. So while my input dot length, it has to 0, right? We can't do with the empty string. So once we are done, get this one, let's print the first character what we get of the input string. So console dot write and we say input first character plus the space. So we printed first character. Next to this one we have to print the number of times it occurs. So for that we have to loop through input string, right? So for that, let's say input and thus input dot length. So now we have to check if input string of 0 equals how many times. If it is equal to input of j, anything which matches, we say we count it. So we need to define a count here. Count, say, let's say input int count, my bad. So once this is done, we say count plus plus for every int. So this will take, once this is done, we count a number of characters in a loop. So we have to take that character out of the string. So what we do is input is equal to input dot replace so input type whatever we use now, with it should be, this is enough, this has to be toString. Now do that string dot empty. So we are done. This is I, my bad. So now we can put or print the console line the count. Let's see how it works. Let's copy this text and paste here and hit enter. So T is occur twice, H is once, I is twice, I, then hash is 0. This is how it works. So this is one way of doing it. We can do this using dictionary as well, where we have a character and integer. Let's see how we do it. Let's say static dictionary type char and integer. So I can have a character, an integer, count character, occurrence, friends, okay, string, input string input, right? So we got this string. Now we create a dictionary to hold this char comma hint, say char count equal to new type dictionary. Once this is done, we loop through the string what we get and do the match. So let's say I have for each. Here I take character of item and collection is input. We just loop through the parameter what we get. So if character count that contains key, that is item, then character count of key item plus plus. Else character count of item is equal to 1. This is what we do. So once this is done, we return this character counts. I say character, that's fine for now. So now let's say I have a string of, or let's pass the same string again here. So to call this one, I have to create a dictionary of char comma int and then say character occurrence count character occurrence input string. This gives us the input. Now this is a dictionary, right? We have to print, so we have to go through each item and then say it's a key value pair, and you have a character and item integer value, so that's an item, or you can say it's a pair. In character occurrence. So once that is done, it's easy. CW character char character pair dot key comma occurrence pair dot value. Let's run this. Paste, enter. We have both values. So because this was inside, okay, it should be outside. Now you see A, B, C, D, F, right? So it was inside the loop. I just moved it out, and let's see the output now. Put a breakpoint, and I don't want breakpoint here. I'll just do that again. Yep, occurrence of character, done. Two ways of doing it within dictionary. We can do using link as well, that's the easiest way. So to do that, just need to have using system.link here. So once we've done that, let's say we take input string and define per character count or occurrence is equal to input 2, because we are emptying all the input in this example, so I'm just using, I reassigned it and I'm just using input 2, and then you say this is link, right? So now we can use group by. So let's group character, okay, and put it in a dictionary and say G or K of key comma V of V. Okay, V of whatever count of character method. So once we get this one, loop through this for each, we don't know how many characters are there in it. So where this was giving a pair of char count, then just say same here. Run it. See, hello world. Need to make difference. Let's put CW third type. That is second. Import first. Run. Hello world. Yeah, we have done through 3 different ways. First we used while loop going through it and for loop length matched, and then we use second type with the dictionary. We did all this. We can tweak here too. Instead of this one, we can say substitute contains. Here we can say, we can modify like this. I'm going to show that as well. It's simple, but type 2 4. So what we're doing here is, here when we loop through, we just say replace string, because it can have string, all that, and do the same thing. Okay, but right now we don't have any of that, right? So once we enter in here, we find the character and we put it in a count. Here we can say the same thing, and here also we are, instead of this, I would say character count dot add CFC type. This will work. Then we do for each and print it. It's a 4 type. Let's copy this and say 4th. This is occurrence 1 1, and this is type 4. Let's run it. A tries A. But why it is showing 1? Maybe something went wrong. So here it was 0. We had to make it 1. We had to make it 1. That's why it was showing error. Now everything works as expected. When you loop through it, it has to go with the 0, right? I was putting 1. That's the wrong thing. So we have 4 types, 4 different ways to find occurrence of characters in string. So I want to print something like this, inverted pyramid. So in C#, this is a common interview question. They ask you to write pyramid, inverted pyramid. So what is the approach, all that. So to do this, int rows, how many rows we want? We want 5 rows, right? In this example, I'll take 5. And the approach is we have to go both ways, horizontal and vertical. So let's do with horizontal or vertical first. Okay. Let's say I have int I equal to rows, number of rows we have to go, and I greater than equal to first row, and then do this I minus minus. Then for here the j will be of length I. We have to print now. So console print j, because j is I now. We're going first 5, that is I. So we print 5 first, and that 5 here, it go through the loop, and less than or equal to. This is greater than. When it is greater than, minus, less than, equal to, do. Now we can give space or whatever inside this. And once this loop is done, just close this loop, go to the next line, or else it will continue in the same. So right now the result is coming like this, because this has to be 1. It starts from 1, not from 0. And we are printing like this because again it has to be horizontal. So we have to make sure we keep all that in mind when we print. So when you start with 0, it will print like this, but you have to make sure use these ones, console, to go next to print. Row has to be decremented. That's what we are doing using row. This has to be incremented because we are going from 1 to 2. With row we are getting down. First line after first line minus, second line minus. That's why we are fixing this count, and we can't go beyond 0, right? It has to be is equal to or greater than 1. So that is what we are doing here. It has to go down, plus plus, as long as this I less than equal to I mean j less than equal to j, then we are good, we print. Can we reverse this printing? So to do that we have to move this out, and all the logic should be out. First one will be 1. Okay, so 1 here, this will be rows, and plus plus, this will be minus minus, and see what happens. It's not printing anything because this has to be less than, this has to be greater than. It's printing 1. Here we start with j rows. We have to go both ways. Now we print like this: 5 3 2 1. So reverse order. Okay, we did not do anything, we just altered, we changed this condition and this condition. And suppose if someone asks you to do this one, how do you do that? I'll show you. So we want to do this, right? As I showed. Not exactly this way, but this will be ordered properly, like this. So you have to print this way. So for that, let's say I have a int rows is equal to 5, and then so there is like a few loops we have to go through. First, as we know, we just print the rows. Int I is equal to outer loop. We start with rows, number of rows, I greater than equals 1, I minus minus. This is outer loop. Once we have outer loop, now it's time to print two things. One, we have to print star, asterisk, and the second one is we have to print space, right? So to do that, let's say for int, say j, this is less than equal to rows. Okay, we print console right space. First we add space. Let's see how it works. You don't get to see anything, but it's added space here. If I put something else, star here, we can see it's printed like this. So we are getting space. Once we get the space, in the same loop, first we add the space. Now in the same loop, outer loop, we have to loop one more thing for where I can say k k less than equal to equal to 2 into 1. So what exactly we are doing here is the second loop. This is responsible for printing asterisks. So it starts from 1 and continues until 2 into I. Okay, and then minus 1, right? So the number of asterisk for each row, a rows pattern 1, 3, 5 and so on. So that's what we are trying to do here. Now we print console with asterisk like this, space. Once first and second loops are done, we break the line. Let's see how it works. We are getting printed like this. So there is a problem where this has to be 1. When I do that, we get this output. Here we have to print 2 spaces to match this one. If I keep this 1, then there is no space here. That should work as well. This looks like this. So when we want to increase, we have to increase the space here in both places. If I increase 2, here will be 2. Let's see the output. See. So basically what we did is the second loop, row and I. This is row minus I is very important. So we have to take the number of rows and I will be whatever the value we get from this loop. First is 0, we print 2, the next one prints. So we are done. Let's reverse this order. Okay, see how we can do that. Let's go beyond this and say same int row 5 for int first one we print 1 and this outer row, right? And then we use this one less than correct, and in the second row what we do is, this is tricky, so we say int j and this is I always, and j plus plus, we have to increase the number in the second row. Right, now console write j space. Once this is done, say console right line, and I just comment this one for now. Let's run it. This is a print. So what we are basically doing here is we start with 1 and 1, the I is less than number 5 and we go increment. So once you go with, you just print 1 which is I and start with 1 and will increment in the next step. Okay, if I is 2, we'll increment twice. I is less than or equal to j, that is true. J is less than equal to I, correct? J always 1, and it loops through a couple of times, and that's how we print. So once we have this, can we add the other part and print the same way? Let's see how we can do it. So now we need to add extra spaces. So the rows will be I, row minus I right here. So let's see how this work. It's going other way. It's fine. And now instead of J I can say, okay, let's see, I'll add this logic to see how things work. And instead of printing here, we print here. This will be K. It works like this, and we fix it adding extra space. Perfect. So the thing is, we have to keep this. Why we are doing this? It's just the second loop responsible of printing the asterisk or the number. It starts from 1 and continues 2 star I minus 1. What is 2? Because the number of asterisk each row follows pattern 2. 1, 3, 5, right? So meaning 1, 3, 5. So that's where I 2 into 1, and it is 1, 2, and minus 1 is 1. When it becomes 2, this will be 2. 2 into 2, 2 minus 1. But everything is same. Here the rows will become i's. First one 1, we print space, row minus I. I is 1, we need 4 space. We put 4 space here. So to summarize or to add extra space, instead of this I put asterisk to make sure how exactly this. First one 1, 2, 3, 4 space, and then because row minus 1, row is 5 minus 1, 4, we have 4 space here. Next is 6, right? Because here it becomes 2, this is 5, we need 3 space, 3 pairs of stars. Next 2 pairs are 1 pair and then nothing. So that's how you analyze this code. First we print 4 space and then print. Next we will leave 3 space and then print. Next we leave 2 space and then print. Next we'll throw. That's what we are doing here. Half pyramid will have 2 for each, for loops. Full pyramid, outer pyramid will print the outer line, and inner pyramids for space, one for space and one for the number, whatever we want. Check if a number is a prime is one of the most frequently asked interview question. So we have to write a function that checks whether a given number is a prime or not. Prime number is a number greater than 1 and is divided by only by 1 and itself. So it has to be greater than 1 and it has to be divisible only by 1 and itself. So let's see how we do that. Let's say we take so we need to find out for the first criteria is it has to be greater than 1, right? So let's just do that. Static bool is prime is a function or a method I'm creating, and it's a number. So let's say if whatever the parameter we're passing is less than or equal to 1, then return false, right? So the prime number has to be greater than 1 and divisible by only by 1 and itself. So once this is done, Let's say we pass in number 5 and we have to find the prime number, whether it's from prime number or no. So that to do that we have to put it in a loop and then say I is equal to I, because 1 is not a prime number, we start with 2. So once I iterate from 2 and we have to square root, find the square root of 2. So the way we do it, I into I number is equal to, then less than or equal to, we found the square root of the I. So we need to check if the number is divisible by an integer, whatever we are doing it. So that we do it by if number divisible by 0, I equals 0, then it's false, else return true. So if we find any divisor of the number here, divisor of the number, we've turned it to false. If no divisor found and we return true, indicating that the number is prime. And once this is done, we can say, we can call this function int number is equal to 17 if is prime number, whatever the number we have, then we say console write number is a prime number, else is not a prime number. Let's run this. "17" is a prime number. Just want to check one of the part where debug and see how exactly this is working. We pass 17, we find the square root of it and see whether if it is now I so I is to 4, which is less than or equal to the number, right? 17, and we check number 17 and I is 4 and the remainder is 1. So this is not equal to 0. Then we get false. Now let's do the next one. Now 3 divided by multiplied. Now remainder 2, which is not equal to 0, then false. So it will continue. Four. And this is if you are confused with this logic, I can show you one more logic where you can say, yeah, see this. So I can have one more way or type. It says static. This gives bool is prime number type 2. Okay, so here what we do is we pass int number and we do the same thing almost. So we take the number, whatever number we get in, and loop through it, and this will be easy way. So we got I, we start with 2, 1 is not a prime number, and now I less than number divided by 2. This is because we are making sure we have the so this checks if the number is divisible by any value of I. So that's what happens here, and then we say I plus plus. So once this is done, we do check if okay, let's do this. So here we are using divisor, right? This is like a check, it's unnecessary and it will result in more iterations, but here we are making the square root, so this is more feasible and it's the best way to find a prime number, where check up to the square root of number using this, and then we see if anything which falls. Remind if it is like, if the number is 2, then 2 into 2 4, which is basically then 2 divided by I, which is less than divisor. That's the prime number, right? So maybe it's confusing, but yet that's the best way to do it. Square root, using square root of 2, which is efficient way, and first time I am doing it right. This is okay. Let's continue this one and see the results, how many iterations this takes and how many iterations this takes. I'll print them both. So now we have to do the same logic, where reminder is equal to this one, and else after for loop you say return true, and check the prime. Let's run this builder. $17 is a prime number, that's right. So let's see how these work. Just want to call this just to print. So let's say what happens here. CW I here, CW inside I. Let's run this. See the number of iterations, forget about first one. 17, right? This is taking too long because too many. Here the number of iteration 3, here the number of iteration 7. That's the difference, the way we do it. That's why we use square root instead of divider or any other approach. That's the best way to find the number. We are doubling the value and trying to compare with the number. If I say here 31, which is a prime number, you see how many iterations it will take. See here it took 5 iterations, here it's taking more iterations. You see the difference, the way we code, which is efficient. The first one is efficient, we are cutting down, we are finding the answer in 4 iteration. Here 1 2 3 4 8 12 13 iterations, which is best. 4 iteration one is best, right? So there may be chances where you can go with just a n approach, number approach. I'll show you how exactly what exactly I meant. So here let's say we have something type 3, right? Instead of this, okay, I'll have a counter, some int d is equal to 0. Instead of this here, I just make is equal to, okay, then I plus plus, nothing else. So let's see how it works. It's doing the same. Okay, if I do the same here, okay, let's do this. At the end it says 31 is not a prime number. Here it says prime number. So this logic is wrong. So why? Because once we get this done, instead of this we need to check instead of returning it. What we can do is, I'll change the code a bit. Okay, that's not how we do it. Let's paste this code here. Let's see how this works. It's at 31. We need to know how many iterations it's gonna take, right? That will be 31 iteration. In this approach, if we are just doing this, so it goes 1 2 3, everything. So after 14 from previous, it started from 1 because we are not doing anything. It goes until 31. It's just a junk code. We can't do it this way. It takes too many iterations. Suppose there may be chances where they'll ask you to determine if a number can be expressed as sum of two prime numbers. We need to write a function which takes input as an integer and returns true if the number can be expressed as sum of two prime numbers, or false otherwise. Okay, sum of two prime numbers is a prime number. So the way we do it, we can use the same logic to find find the prime number, but we have to add one more expression where that should express a sum of two prime numbers. So the way we do it, let's say I have one more method, static bool, because it's a true or false. Check if it's sum of two prime number is a prime number, int number. So in this, what we do is, if number divided by 2 modulus of 2 equal to 0, then we are good, return true. Else return is prime number, and we have to find number and sum of 2, right? So this is our work. So what we are doing in here is, we check if the number is even. If it's even, we express it as a sum of 2, and number is is 2, which are both prime numbers. Number minus 2, and these are prime number, right? Number is 2 and this is 2, and then 2 is a prime number. If the number is odd, we check if the number is minus 2. If it is, we can express number as sum of 2, which are both prime numbers. Let's see this in action. So what we are calling, we check with this straight, it's prime number, and run it. This is a prime number. You don't want this, right? (31) is a prime number. Checking minus 2, and then so we need to check sum of two number is a prime number, and which is 29. 31 is, we are checking for 31. The number is 29. We square root this one to see it is divisible by 2, and we get this answer as this. That's all about prime number. Let's see how to find the largest number in an array. We need to write a function and find the largest number. Suppose I have an array. Let's say I have an array, integer array number is equal to, it can be anything, 5, 50, 34, 23, 34, 56, 99. Right, it can be anything. So this is a array of integers. We need to find the largest number of this one. So to do that, let's say I create a function. Always create a function. It returns integer value. Find the largest element it takes array as an input of number array, I would say. Then we check whether array is null or less than 1. Then we throw new argument exception. Argument exception. The array can not be null or empty. Okay, so let's say we have to find the largest element. Int element, which is basically we say we initialize with array 0 or the first element of an array the first element. It can be anything. We just assume this is the element which is the largest initially. Okay, so after this what we have to do is we check if array of I, before that we have to loop through, right? For int I is equal to 1, int I array dot length. That's it. Now we have to check if array of I is equal to whatever the element, largest element we consider. Say this is the largest element. Array of I greater than this. Then we say and return the largest element. Let's pass the array and print it. And so meant then pass the number into it, right? So let's see how it works. Largest number is 99. Suppose if I take this off 99, then 56 is the largest number. Let's see, 56 is the largest number. What if I set 99 here? 99 is the highest number, because here it checks if this number is greater than this, then it sets the value of I. If this doesn't set, then the default will be returned, because the default will be a largest already, so the same will be returned. If anything other than this largest, imaginary largest, or the first element, which is largest element. So then it will get set here. So it's basically compared with all, whichever passes, that will be the highest one. So we can set this like this. We can see CW as a array of I, just print, okay, to see how exactly it is working. First it checks 2020 and then it comes to this one. So what is it printing here inside? If it is true, just playing with it. So first it checks with 5 and 99, 50 and 99, 23 and 99, and then it gives 99, because here this is not, this is I value, this is the largest element. Okay, so know where it's at. So let's change this one to 5. Now 5 is checked with 50, now then 23, 34, and then 56. So wait, I have to change this a bit. So that we can understand. This is 50 is the largest number. Why it is checking 50 as the largest number? Because we are setting 1. So first 50, the largest number is set to 50. Then once the value is greater, then it will get set back. So until then, that is a 50. So that's how it works. Once that passes, whatever is that, that will get set to this value. That's right. Whenever the input value number greater than largest number, the first number, then the largest number will get replaced with the value whatever is greater. This will continue for next number, next number, next number. So it will go through the each of this element and finds it. Let's find the second largest number or element in the array. We do the same thing, static int find second largest number takes int array. Now this is second largest, right? At least we have 2 elements, so we have to check if array not equal to null and the length should be if it is less than 2, then we throw new argument exception. So the argument is the sending is not right. The argument array must have at least two elements. Once this is done, we use the same logic, but here we are not setting first value as a largest number. So what we do is we'll set int largest element to int dot minimum value and int second to int dot minimum value. So now we can go loop through for each. So the length is array dot length, right? So once we get this one, we check if the same logic, if the array element is greater than the largest number, then we set the largest number. Before this, we set the second largest number is equal to largest number, and so we have a largest number, which is this one, and whatever was in here, which will become a second largest. So once this is done, we return the second largest. We can do much more, but for now, let's see. What is the second largest number of it? 56. 99 is the largest number and 56 is the second largest number. The second largest number is 56, out of which this array. We can have extra conditions like this, or else say if else if array of element is greater than the second largest and less than the largest, then we do second largest is equal to array of this, whatever the array. We can do this as well. Get this 56. It's the second largest. So what will happen if I have two 5s in an array? So which will become, this is the minimum value of largest it's throwing, right? Because we are returning the second largest here. So we have to block this one. So the way we do it, before we return, we have to make sure if the second is equal to this minimum, int minimum, then we say whatever the argument we passed, right? there is no second largest element in the array. Let's see how it works. Another exception. There is no second largest number in the snow. There is no. So we are throwing an error, right? That's what it's showing. So if someone asks you in the interview saying you have an array of numbers, you want to reverse the array using C#. So how do you do it? I'll show you the good way of doing it. It's easy, but you have to have two arrays, one original one and one is reverse one. So I'll show you how exactly this works. Let's see, static, this is basically returning a int array, right? And then first array is my function name, and this takes int array. So I can throw an exception if it is null. Throw new argument reference, argument exception, saying the array cannot be null. This is the message I'm throwing. So if this is not null, then we have to loop through. Before that, we need to have a array variable to assign. So int array reversed array is equal to new int array of same length, right? Because arrays are fixed, so we have to fix the length, which is what we are getting. So whatever the length we are size getting, we are just fixing the same length here. Now what we do is array dot length. Now what we do is we say we go with one by one, which pick the last one and assign it to reverse array. Reverse array of type I. First one, this will get assigned by array of array length dot length -1, and then because its array length is 5, and when you go element by element, it will be like fourth one, right? So and each time we have to increment that number. We take the I and we use it. So that's how this works. Once this is done, we return reversed array. So we capture that into an int array, again reversed array here, and call reversed array method and pass numbers, and we get it. Now we have print. The print, we have to convert this array into string. So we use string.join. Let's say original array string.join comma separated, then write this is number, this is reversed. Let's run this and see how it works. This is the original, this is the reversed. That's it. In most of interviews, people ask, the interviewer asks to remove duplicates from an array. They ask you literally to do all this. So we can do it. So they can come up with like, yeah, you have a function, you write a function that removes duplicate elements from an array of integer and return the modified array. So the way we do it, let's say static and returns int array of remove duplicate. It takes int array of array. Then we have to have something to put all these on. This has to be a flexible list, or it can't be an array because array is fixed. We can't predict the length of whatever array we pass in. So take a list of int, say done. So let's say for each item of array, right, then we say if list dot contains item, we don't do anything. If not, then we add list dot add items to it, and then once done, return the list converted to array, because we have to return array. So this is a list we are passing in. We have to capture the output, say result here, and then remove duplicates, number array. So we got this one. Let's print this one. Original array. Here we say string, we have to join before we print it. Join, give some space, comma separated, and then say array. We print array first. Next we do the same with result, and we change this text to original to array with duplicates removed, right? So let's see the output. Yep, this is original array, and this is after removing duplicate from the array. This is how we do it. So we can do the same with one more approach where we have to use link. Okay, that's the easiest way. There is nothing. We just have to comment this code for now, and we pass the array and say using system dot link, and link we have integer of type array which find distinct array by array dot distinct, then once we done to array, then return this distinct array. We get the same result here too. See, a simple one. We have to use array distinct and to array and put it into, it can be var as well. It gives the same result. As I already mentioned, we can use distinct set or a hash set to do this as well, which is like little tedious. You have to create a hash set and then go through, iterate through a for loop array, using for each, and then we have to convert the hash set back to an array, and we have to copy to integer and return the result. It's kind of okay to write it. I'll show you the simple and fast way of doing it. Control C. Let's see, hash set of type integer, that's it. So this is like unique elements, right? So we get an array. Let's look through for each. Once we then unique, add elements. So we added everything to this unique. Then once this is done, we have to have in of type array result is equal to new int count, then unique elements dot copy to, we have to pass that result, done, then return result. So let's see the output. Here it is. So the first two are the best approach. The first one, distinct, is the easiest and faster way, because everything does internally. For each we create as one extra list and do all that, but you can, instead of that, just return. Control C. Here you can do, right, instead of this you can say return here, and done with this single line. That same result. It's just one line where you can take out all the duplicates from the array. Simple. You don't have to create all this one. You can do directly here. Take this one and just say array dot distinct dot to. That's enough. It should give the result. Yes, it's giving all this value duplicates after removing duplicates. Array dot distinct. The original array. Or if you are confused, let's do that here. Array dot distinct, then run it. You'll see both the original and the removed one. C# code test interview. This is all about check if two strings are anagrams. Anagrams means the words will contain same characters. If I have a string listen and another string silent, both will have same characters. So we need to figure out using C#. So the way we do it, so the interviewer may ask you, write a function that takes two strings as input and returns true if they are anagrams, meaning contains the same characters in any word, and false otherwise. Okay, so let's say I have this method. So there are few things. We create a method which returns boolean value, right? Static bool are anagrams, string str1, string str2. So once we get the string, we convert into a character array so that we can sort using array, right? That will be easier and faster way. So let's say char array of array char array one string array to character, the same here for 2. So it will be easy for us to sort the string in an order. So let's say we can use array now. Let's sort. Then we can say char array 1. We sorted this one, and we do the same with 2. So we sorted. Let's see how. I'm just using CW here to see how exactly this gonna look. Once we sorted, so before we do anything with this one, we have to see these are, we have to compare right now in time. Once we sorted, we have to compare to see this whether they have same contain same characters. So for that we have to convert into string. So what is this? Sorted and str1 is equal to new string 1, make it 2 for the second one. We sorted. Now we have to compare the sorted strings. So the way we do it, return sorted 1 dot equals, this will return boolean value, sorted 2. As you can see here, this returns boolean value, so we're good. So this will compare and sort. Let's print what is sorted here. Let's say CW sorted string let's take 2 here. str1 is equal to listen string str2 equals silent, and let's check if it's true, which is true. str1 comma str2, then we say str1 and str2 grams, right? Else they are not. Let's run it. See, first one is we are converting into character array, right? And we are sorting, and this is sorted after we get it here. It's the same thing, but I'm just showing it to you. Okay, once it sorts, we can say before we sort, and we are seeing their anagrams. Okay, let's get rid of all these consoles here. We don't need that, and change something here. Add a listen and silent are not anagrams. We can do the same with the for each loop, but that is like pain. You have to like go through the first string, second string with the loop, iterate them through, and find the character. C# code test interview. So they asked me to calculate sum of all even numbers in a given range. It may be 1 to 10, 1 to 20, 1 to 50, whatever may be the range. So they asked me to write a function that takes two integers as input, start and end, and I have to calculate the sum of all numbers or even numbers in the range between them. Okay, so let's start with writing an integer, a static int sum of sum of even numbers. They say int a comma int b. These are the one. I would say the start, and this will be end. So they give me two integers, start, way to start from, it will be 1, end, that's 20. This is the variable they give, and I have to pass them as arguments to this method. So let's say start has to be lesser than end, right? Always it can't be minus. So if start greater than end, then throw new argument exception. Or equal to end value, right? So if they give 1 and end is 1, what do? We have to find out. It has to be greater than. So I would say, let's say message doesn't matter for now. We can tweak the message later based on the condition. So let's say I have to store all the sum to one variable, it is 0 now. So once we do it, we go through this item, whatever we get as input. So we have to set a start, I equal to start, and I less than or equal to end, I plus plus, right? This is a number which you are going. So if I divided by 2 equals 0, then we do sum plus plus. Sum, not sum plus, plus sum plus equal to I, right? Then we return sum. Let's see how it works. So we can say whatever we are returning, and we have to get it int, say sum equals sum of start and end. This will give me the result. CW, inside we say the sum of even numbers from to the end is, we print the sum here, right? Hold on, let's see how it works. Error. So 110. So we can print what comes in here each time. We had some to see these are even numbers. 2, 4 getting added, 2 and then 4. I need 4 here instead of that. Let's print I. These are even numbers which are getting added from 2 to 20. The total will be this much. I use this. Sum is sum. 2, then 2 plus 4, 6, 6, 6, 12, 12, 8, 20, 20, 10, 30, 30, 12, 42, 42 plus 12, 56, 72, 90, like that. We can change this to any number. I can say 100 and get the value of 100. Yes. The sum of even numbers from 1 to 100 is this. So what happens if I say this is 2 and end is 2? Does it break? 2, sum is 2. Start is 1 and range is 1 and 0. and minus 1. You're throwing invalid expression, right? It has to be greater than 1. Nice. In this tutorial, we will take a look at what is the difference between select and select many. So I have an example. So I want to change all this list of fruits to uppercase. So basically we use transform or select to transform the items in this list. So it takes each element and it iterates through and transforms it. Okay, each element to whatever the transformation we want. Suppose I want to transform this to a list of uppercase elements. So what I would say is enumerable of string, right, uppercase fruits. I'm just trying to transform these fruits into uppercase. So fruits dot select and fruits to uppercase. So this will basically takes all the fruits and transform each item to uppercase using to uppercase method. So the lambda expression what we are doing here defines the transformation function. Okay, this is what it is doing, which is taking all the items and then going through one by one and making them upper. So we can print this one for each string fruit from uppercase fruit. Then we do console right line fruit, right? That's how we print. So let's run this one and see the output. So it is working. So we have a fruit list and we are printing this way, transforming all the fruits to uppercase. So we can do the same with the number list as well. Let's say I have in this example. So I'll do the same thing. I have to square this number. Okay. So I take the same enumerable int and then we say squared numbers. Okay. Then we say numbers select, then x is equal to x into x. Okay, so this is basically taking each element of the numbers, item of the numbers, and transforming or squaring it. The lambda expression, as we know, this is this transformation function which is doing the squaring, and we can print the results the same way how we did numbers. Let's see the output of it. So we should see the squared numbers. 1 1 is a 1, 2 2 is a 4, and likewise 25 into 25, 5 into 5, 25. What's that? So this is all about select, right? Let's take a look at select many. So in select many, what happens is if you have a collection or I would say a list items, so you want to flatten that collection to one. Okay, so in that scenario we go with select many. So I can give an example. Let's take this example what we have here. This is an example. As you can see, we have a list of cities, right? collection of collection. Okay, we can flatten this one into single collection using select many. So the way we do it is go through enumerable again and take string, because this is stuff list of string, and then say we have to flatten this one. Cities. I'll take cities dot select many. So what it does, it flattens the resulting sequence into one sequence, right? So pass city list, okay, and to city list again. We don't have to do anything, just close this one and done. So the lambda expression city list, arrow function city list, it says the projected function, whatever the function we have, returns each city list as it is. We are not doing any transformation. We are just taking the list and flattening it to one list, and we can iterate through that list. Okay, string city flatten cities, and we can print CW and city, right? So let's see the output, how it's gonna print. You see, it starts from here all the way to Kyoto. So we have took all the cities, collection of cities, and we flattened them using select many. You do the same when you have a collection of numbers as well. It's the same logic, and we have numbers already in here, so I'll say list. Okay, and once that is done, I take enumerable of integer int, and we can say flatten numbers. Let's say go with number list many, and x is equal to x, which meaning number of list, arrow function number of it list. Then for each, then print numbers. Let's see the output. So we should see the number, collection of collection flattened. That's how we go with select many. This is one of the important interview questions they would ask, and don't forget to practice and understand this one. One is to transform and one is to flatten. Select is to transform the collection, and select many is to flatten the collection of collections. Please subscribe this channel for more tutorials. Thank you.